How good is Masked Royal and Incineroar actually? How's it going, guys? In today's video, we will have an in-depth analysis of Masked Royal and Incineroar. Make sure to subscribe for future Pokemon Masters content, and let's get started. Overall, Masked Royal is a pretty decent tech that can do good damage, actually, really good damage. And he has a crap ton of multipliers in his grid. So Masked Royal is a dark type tech and is weak to rock. He has okay HP, good attack, decent special defense and defense, irrelevant special attack, and pretty bad speed. So his team skill, he has dark tech, Alola tech, battle facility full tech, mask tech, and bodybuilder tech. So for his passive, his first passive is Terrify 1. -1 attack to all the opposing opponent when the Pokemon enters the battle. Basically like Intimidate from the main games, right? Dominating Sync 5 powers up Sync moves by 50% when the target's attack is lowered. This is really good, right? Especially with his first passive Terrify 1, because you already -1 on their attack, so you pretty much get the free 50% buff on his Sync move. The next passive is a really good one, Dishearten 9. -1 attack or defense, or both, when the user attacks the opponent. It's a really nice passive. Lowering opponent's defense means that you can deal more damage, since Incineroar uses physical moves, right? So lowering defense will increase the damage. His grid also have a lot of good stuff that is linked to the lowering of opponent's attack and defense, which we will go over later. So for his moves, the first one is Brutal Swing. It's an AoE 2 gauge dark type physical move with 60 BP and 100% accuracy. At first, I thought this move is pretty bad. Like, why would you use this, right? You just want to use Darkest Lariat and do a lot of damage. But when I thought about it, I realized that this move is basically an AoE debuff move, right? Because Brutal Swing is AoE, and then he has Dishearten 9 passive. So if you use Brutal Swing, all the opponents will have -1 attack, -1 defense, or both. So this is really good, especially if you want to debuff all the opponents. The second one is X Attack, we all know what's that. Third one is Darkest Lariat. It's a 3 gauge physical dark type move, 108 BP. This move will ignore all the target's race stats when attacking. This is really good, especially when like you don't do crit and then the opponent has increased their defense. You will ignore the defense increase and then just hit like normal. And one more thing, the most important thing, this will ignore evasion buffs. So you can technically say that this move will never miss, right? Because it will hit through the evasion buff, so it won't miss. But let's say if your accuracy is decreased, then of course you will miss, because this move does not take into account of your own stat debuffs or buffs. Ignoring the opponent's evasion buff is really good, right? Especially in Champion Stadium, especially against Lorelei and Karen. The fourth move is his trainer move, Ready Fight. You +1 evasion and then +3 speed to all your allies. It's really good. Use it twice, you +2 evasion and then +6 speed for your entire team. Really good. He's technically like a speed support as well, which is really good as well, because like he has really low speed, so speed buffs will be really nice for him. His Sync move will take advantage of that speed, because it says here, the more the user speed has been raised, the greater the power of this move. So if you have +6 speed, you do double damage on your Sync, which is really nice. So for 1 out of 5, honestly, it's terrible. You only have X attack and PR3, which maybe you want to take this if you want to max out your attack, but I would say just bring a physical attack support. At 2 out of 5, you get a lot of really nice stuff. The first thing is Darkest Lariat MGR4, 50% chance to get back move gauge. If you're running a Darkest Lariat build, take this, really nice. Next one is Insult to Injury. The more the target's defense has been lowered, the more it powers up most. So if you get your opponent's defense to -6, you will have 30% buff. It's gonna take a while, but throwing defense, he has his Dishearten 9 passive, so it's kinda easy to debuff it. If you want, you can bring a defense debuffer like Kukui and Lycanroc, right? Because they have Leer, you can lower the defense of all your opponent. And oh wait, can Kukui and Masked Royal be on the same team? I mean, like, I'm not saying that they're the same person, but anyways, ramming speed, at +6 speed, you get 30% buff. You should take this pretty much every single time, because it's really easy to max out speed, right? You can just use his trainer move twice and then you get +6 speed. Very easy. Brutal Swing MGR4. You can take this if, let's say, you're just running a debuff build. You're just trying to debuff the opponent and stuff. So yeah, and one thing I want to note is that both Brutal Swing and Darkest Lariat have MGR 4. It's a 50% chance. It's really high. Usually other Sing pairs get like 2 or 3, but Incineroar got both of his moves at 4, which is really high. So next one we have Terrify 1. If you have this, then you will have 2 Terrify 1 passive, right? So when you enter battle, the opponent will get -2 attack, which is cool, but you're gonna debuff their attack anyways. So maybe not. Or you can bring an attack debuffer like Champion Iris, right? She's a pretty good attack debuffer. The next one is Packing Order. Packing Order double sync when the opponent's attack is at -6. So it's really good, right? Double your sync move damage. And then, like I said previously, you can take Champion Iris to debuff even quicker, right? Just use Breaking Swipe. You can even debuff until -6 attack before the first sync. The next one we have Shifty Striker 1. Has a 20% chance to raise the user's evasiveness when the Pokemon uses a move. Like, I mean, it's not that great. It's only 20% chance, so I don't really recommend this. The next one is Bob and Weave. At +6 evasion, you get 30% buff. It's a good, I mean, I wouldn't say good, but if you want extra damage, I guess you can go for it. But you need to bring like an extra evasion support, because if you use Incineroar's trainer move twice, you get +2 evasion, which is not a lot. You need to get a +6 to do 30% extra damage, so you might as well like don't take this. Or if you plan to take evasion support, then you can take this passive. It really depends on your team composition. If you don't plan to bring any evasion support like Misty and Starmie, right, then don't take this. Just take like Ramming Speed and Insult to Injury. Those are more reliable than Bob and Weave. So for his build, the first one you can do like a hybrid debuff and damage build, right? You can take both Brutal Swing and Darkest Lariat power-ups, MGR, right? Then you can take Insult to Injury, and then you can even take Ramming Speed, and then take Packing Order. You exactly use finish your energy. So this is a hybrid build, right? You get Sync Nuke, get debuffs, and then get damage. It's a hybrid build. It's pretty solid build actually. The next one is his Darkest Lariat build. For Darkest Lariat build, you must take Darkest Lariat MGR 4. Well, for this build, you will mainly do damage with Darkest Lariat, right? So take Ramming Speed, also take Insult to Injury, and then Packing Order. Then you have 4 more energy left, so you can just take power-ups, right? Darkest Lariat power-up. If you have both Ramming Speed and Insult to Injury, you do 60% more damage. And then you do double damage with Packing Order, but you do need some time to set up. For his 3 out of 5 grid, he really only gets like one good stuff, which is Power Posture. That's about it actually. We get here Power Reserves 5, Stealth Energy, Powers Up Move in a pinch, 50% extra damage. I mean, there's just better options out there. Power Reserve 5 is just inconsistent because you need low HP, right? Next thing we get is Demoralize 2. It will -2 attack on the opposing Sync pairs after a Sync move. Honestly, no. You can take this, but you can just debuff it yourself, right? If you want this, you can go ahead and take this. Power Posture. At -6 attack, you get 30% buff. This is pretty good because you have this Hearten 9 passive, so you can keep debuffing the opponent's attack. It will take a while, but eventually, if it's a long battle, you will get there. Next one is Ridicule 1. 20% chance to restore HP when an opponent's move misses the user. Honestly, no. It's 10 energy and 20% chance. And on top of that, you need the opponent to miss. Even at +6 evasion, the chances of your opponent missing a move is 50%. And then on top of that, if the opponent misses, you need to get through another 20% chance to heal. So the real percentage is like 10% or something. So it's not really that useful. So next thing is Slippery Slope 9. +1 evasion when the opponent misses the user. Honestly, I mean, it sounds kinda good. Guarantee a +1 evasion when the opponent misses, but you also need luck because there's a pretty high chance that the opponent will hit you. It's not that useful, honestly. And then if you don't bring any evasion support, you only have +2 evasion, which is pretty low. So your opponent can still hit you like 70% of the time or something. The last one is Redified MGR 4. Honestly, just don't take this. 50% chance to gain move gauge, but you only use it twice per match. It's not really useful. His first build will be his Darkest Lariat build, so obviously you need Darkest Lariat MGR 4. Then you take all the power-ups, right? Ramming Speed, Insult to Injury, and then Power Posture. And then you have 2 more energy, just take whatever you want, just maybe take Speed, because Incineroar has bad speed. So yeah, you have 3 of them. so that's a 90% multiplier, right? For his second build, you can do a debuff build with Brutal Swing, but honestly, this is not really a good build, right? Do something like this, I guess, and take speed. Honestly, no, I would prefer Darkest Lariat or a sync move build. This is just not that great, honestly. His last build would be a sync nuke build, so obviously you will need like a sync move, the sync move buff, and then take ramming speed, because ramming speed is quite useful. Pretty much get +6 speed right at the start of the battle. Packing Order is a must, right? Because it powers up sync moves, and then more power up for the sync move, and then you have a lot of energy left, so I would suggest you just take Darkest Lariat, because like you're gonna use Darkest Lariat when you're not using sync move. So yeah, I think I prefer this a bit more because you get ramming speed, Packing Order, and then Darkest Lariat MGR4. So it kind of depends. I would choose between Darkest Lariat build or sync move build. It's really up to you, and it's also up to your team composition. Incineroar versus Mightyena. Darkest Lariat versus Double Edge. As you can see, Double Edge does more damage straight up, mainly because it has a really high BP, 200 BP. For Incineroar, we have ramming speed from his sync grid, result to injury, power posture, all from his sync grid. That's a 0.9 multiplier, right? And then for Mightyena, you have super duper effective and ramming speed from his sync grid. Mightyena's one is pretty easy to set up, right? Just brings speed support, pretty simple. And then for Incineroar, you do need time to set up for insult to injury and power posture, but once you get there, it's gonna do pretty good damage. Something to take note is that Double Edge will have recoil move, right? So the sync grid is here, you get 2 stand-up fast 5. The recoil for Double Edge would decrease from 25% to 6.25%, which is not that much, but it's still recoil damage, so yeah. And then for his grid, I did not take Gritty 5 because it's not reliable. 50% increase of damage is nice, but you need to be affected by a status condition, so for sync nuke, Incineroar does like a lot more damage than Mightyena, mainly because he has a lot of multipliers in his grid, and then his sync move also has multiplier itself, and then there's dominating sync as well. So if you have at least -1 attack on the opponent, you get 50%. Packing Order, if your opponent has -6 attack, you get another multiplier. So almost 27,000 is really high. For Mightyena, you only have Haymaker, so if you +6 attack, you double your sync move damage. For Incineroar, you do need a bit of setup for Packing Order, but once you set up, you can do a lot of sync damage. Really, really good. If you're curious about their sync grid, then here is Incineroar sync grid, Packing Order, and then some power ups and stuff, and then I took a bunch of Darkest Lariat stuff here, because yeah, why not, right? Or if you want, you can just take the ramming speed. And then for Mightyena, his grid, Haymaker, and then sync move power ups, and then you take 2 stand fast 5, and then Double Edge MGR2. So yeah, that's pretty standard. So should you summon Masked Royal and Incineroar? Like always, if it's a Spotlight Scout, no. After his banner ends, he will be in the regular pool, so just wait, I guess you'll get him eventually. I mean, overall he is a pretty solid tech unit, so yeah, don't summon for him. Maybe just say gems for second year anniversary. If you like Masked Royal, then go ahead, no one is stopping you. Just make sure you don't spend too much money on the game. Just don't go bankrupt. So guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.